In this video, we're going to talk about gain. So when we think about signal for our soundboard, we think about inputs and outputs. What's coming into the board, what gets processed, and what goes out. Once you have an input, so for example, a microphone, this is a wireless mic, this is the transmitter, goes to a receiver that's up here in, up by the sound desk, and then that goes over an XLR cable into what's called a preamp. A preamp is, it's called a preamplifier. It amplifies the signal coming across that line. So this microphone, all a microphone is doing is taking an analog signal, like my voice, translating it into a digital signal, and it sends it along to the soundboard. Now the problem is that signal is really low. It's really quiet, so it has to be amplified, hence a preamplifier that goes into the board. So gain is how much amplification we want to apply to that channel. It's different than volume. Volume is, I've got my signal, now I want to turn that signal up or down. Gain is asking the question, how much signal do we want in our mic? So a good amount of gain will try and isolate the voice or the instrument that's being picked up. If you've got it wide open, it's going to pick up everything around it. It's going to pick up room noise, and we don't want that. But we want enough gain so that we have enough signal to work with, because we don't want to be mixing, down here and have our fader way at the bottom. We want to try and be up here. So there's a couple different ways to set gain. Let's talk about those. So when we look at our channel, this is wireless B. We can see here's our channel here, and if I select it, I'll go right up here to the top. This is the first section, it's our preamp section, and we can see our gain setting is currently set to 38 dB. So I'm just going to turn that all the way down, and let's say we were setting this microphone up for the first time. Well, I'm going to begin to talk into this microphone and lift the gain on it until we can begin to see, now we've got a little bit of signal, okay? What we're trying to target here is we want enough signal to make it useful, but not too much signal, right? We don't want to be way up here and have it in the reds and in the yellows, and it's peaking and it's clipping, it's going to sound distorted. So we want to bring that down. We want to try and find a point where we have a decent amount of signal to work with, which is usually up over -10 here. You can see how it's peaking up over there, but it's not jumping into the yellow. So somewhere in between there. So that's one way you could do it. The other way to do it is to open up your mic, kind of set some gain, and then take your fader and move it here to level 0, and then just listen in the room. Does that sound like I have enough signal coming out of that mic? Because we do want to try and target a specific range with gain. We don't want to be mixing down here, because we do that, you'll notice on the faders, there's not as much space between -20, -30. It's very small to make bigger adjustments, whereas up here, you've got 10 dB of adjustments over a larger section of fader. So if I'm mixing up here, that means I can make smaller changes and I can more precisely edit the sound that's happening, okay? So those are the two ways we can think about setting gain, is looking at our signal. Does our microphone have enough signal for us to be able to use it? And the other thing is our fader somewhere between -5 and +5. Now that's not always true, and that's not always going to be the case, but for the most part, this is where we want to be. This is what we're trying to target. The other thing you may have to do is what's called phantom power, or 48 volt power. This is a dynamic microphone, so it doesn't require phantom power, but some microphones do. Some more precise mics, they're called condenser microphones. Those will need phantom power. So you'll see some of the mics we have will require it, and if that microphone needs phantom power, all you have to do to turn it on is just hold down the 48 volt button, and now phantom power is engaged on that channel. So that microphone will work properly, and typically if you plug in a mic and you're not getting anything out of it, there's no signal, you can try phantom power, see if it works. But for the most part, it's the condenser microphones that need that. And then our dynamic microphones, like this wireless mic or vocal mics, those don't require that.